If they leave Philly and Philly still wins and they only have one win, then the NFC Championship game, most likely, barring an upset, is going to be in Philadelphia.
888-957-9570 is the number. Steiny along with Darryl the Guru Johnson. And we're talking about the Niners. They won 31-13 on Thanksgiving. It sets up the Eagles game next week, next Sunday, 125 at Lincoln Financial Field. 49ers 8-3, and the Philadelphia Eagles 10-1. Let's go back and talk a little bit about the Seattle game, because Brock Purdy threw another ball that Kyle Shanahan was scratching his head about, but it looks like he's coming around.
That's what he does that pretty consistently. He's always trying to get that one in. He very rarely does he check it down and you tell him he missed the deep one. He looks at it that way. Actually, he proved to us while the ball was in the air it was the right decision. Without deep, it was the wrong decision when he lets it go. Oh yeah, we're all holding our breath as soon as he lets it go because the guy was so deep. And but Brock's got some touch and he was able to throw it over him, and we took the safety out of there with a route, so he knew if he could get over him, there's no one else left, and he made the throw. And I wouldn't have known it until he threw it, but once he threw it, obviously was there.
I mean, Steiny. Your boy's a gunslinger. He'll risk it, and he got the biscuit on that. But I guess if it gets picked, or is that what Kyle's alluding to? Like that ball could have been picked off. But how can you fault somebody if you? I don't want to say get away with it if the play was successful.
Only if you think it's going to be a problem down the line.
Mm-hmm. And man,
that's the only, the only way it can hurt you. But I mean, I think we got a track record now, Brock Purdy, that's pretty much. I think, can't we feel comfortable? This is who he is.
Yeah, I do.
This is,
and he ain't dink and dunk either. So he's dispelled that. He ain't dinking. He ain't doing the Jimmy Garoppolo playbook. Your boy likes to throw. He likes to chuck it.
Here's this is Kyle Shanahan on. Oh no, this is Purdy after he threw the pick six. What he was thinking.
We're up by 3 scores, 3 touchdowns, and then we just gave them one like that. So now it's a 2-score game. So now it's real, and game is back into play. It felt like in terms of them being back in the game. So for myself, it's like, all right, got to be smart with the ball, but at the same time, I still got to have that aggressive edge to myself, and not being afraid, to rip stuff in tight windows still and move the ball, get first downs, and score touchdowns. That's where I was at with my mindset moving forward. So obviously it sucked going through it. Got to learn from it, but in terms of who I am and playing this position, that can't change. And so that's what I had to keep telling myself.
Let's face it.
What?
You're up 3 touchdowns. That's when you want to throw a pick six.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
he bounced right back.
Eagles-Niners, Sunday, big one.
The biggest. Week 5, Dallas, San Francisco, Steiny. We're all game of the year thus far. That was correct. But this is a rematch of the NFC Championship game. And right now in the NFC, no matter how you carve it or slice it, these are the 2 best teams right now in the NFC. Let's go.
888-957-9570 is the number. And when you look at next week's game, the one thing that I think goes into next week is the fact that the Eagles won that game last night. That makes Sunday a little more palatable for the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just look at a game, and there's a lot of games in the NFL where I just look and say, who needs it more? And I felt that way when the 49ers were playing Jacksonville. Jacksonville had won 4 or 5 in a row. The 49ers had lost 3 in a row. And I'm like, the 49ers have to have this game. I mean, they have to.
Yeah.
And I feel like Sunday's a game where the 49ers have to have it. And the Niners, or rather the Eagles, would like to have it. So I think the sense of urgency favors the San Francisco 49ers, and I think that's probably why they're favored. That, and, I mean, they've got a long week to prepare. So that's probably, I got to believe, two of the reasons why.
Yeah. I know we got JD coming up at 1. He was in Seattle, and Steiny, the one trait that the Niners displayed during the 3-game losing streak was all of a sudden they couldn't get home. And I wonder, 6 sacks Thursday night on Thanksgiving against Seattle, is that just happenstance to where, it's just we got our groove back, or are we seeing more production from Bosa because of the addition of your guy from Washington, Chase Young? So I'm eager to see what they do against Philly's offensive line, who arguably is the best offensive line in the league. But another thing about the Niners, so the Niners played Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield didn't embarrass himself, Steiny. I thought he had more success in the air than I thought he was going to be able to have with this Niners secondary. But the Niners handle business, and then that Monday you're watching a team you're going to hook up with in 2 weeks, and you're like, man, if they can get loss number 2 against Kansas City, I'm talking about the Eagles, will be in good standing. Okay, they pull that one out. Then the Niners handle business on Thursday. They're sitting back eating leftovers yesterday, watching Philly down at half, and you're thinking, I just got to believe that the Niner brass is thinking, okay, this might be the one. This is going to be a great weekend, and they pull that one out. So now, okay, you have to, just like you said, you have to go in there and lay loss number 2 on them. You have to. Or, if you get to the SEC championship game, pack your bags.
Yeah.
And that's getting redundant, Steiny, because they played the Rams on the road in the NFC Championship. We saw that ended up. Obviously, that was Jimmy Garoppolo. They played last year on the road. We saw that ended up. You don't want that.
Well, then you shouldn't have lost 3 straight.
Well, look at the Nobel Peace Prize.
I mean,
you're right.
That's why you shouldn't have started 2-4 last year.
Damn. Eagles haven't had that stretch.
No, this should have been the stretch. This should have been the stretch. If you would have told me that the Eagles were going to run this 5 games and Cowboys, KC, Bills, 49ers, and Cowboys, they're 3-0 right now with the Cowboys coming in 2 weeks and the 49ers coming this next week. I mean, you go 4-1 there. That's unbelievable.
And you know what? If you do that, Steiny, it's almost like you've earned home field.
888-957-9570 is the number. Matt Steinmetz, Darryl the Guru Johnson with you. And the San Francisco 49ers, they're 8-3. They've now won 3 in a row after losing 3 in a row. They beat the Seattle Seahawks 31-13. Everything locking in during that game for the Niners. One blip with Brock Purdy throwing a pick 6, but they were up big. McCaffrey, big day. Purdy, big day. Debo, big day. Ayuk, another nice numbers game. So the 49ers had it all clicking against Seattle. Those games stunk on Thanksgiving. I went to documentary mode early.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. I can't argue.
Gordon Lightfoot.
Packers-Lions?
Oh.
You like that upset?
It was 29-14. I turned it off.
22.
I think it was 29-14 at one point.
Yeah, Lions scored that.
Quit. That's what I turned it off. And turn it off. 29-14.
The best game.
And the one before, what was the one before it?
Well, that was the one before.
That was the first
What was
one.
the second one?
Dallas, Washington.
Oh, that was a good game. Yeah, no, that was a really good game.
You saw history. Deron Bland.
And Dolly Parton, my girl in the Daisy Dukes.
Yeah, literal history there.
Hey.
Man, come on. Who put the Dukes on her, Sonny? She looks great. Come on, look like a diaper, the shorts. Come on. Help me out.
I'm not going to help you out.
Yeah, that's my girl. 9 to 5. You saw that movie, right?
Nope. Didn't see that movie.
Who is this man?
1895.
Yeah. That's a 2E.
Hey, Kyle. You think Brock Purdy's a Super Bowl quarterback?
I'm definitely not going to say the wrong words. So, not your question, but the talk of that stuff is so ridiculous. The words elite, Super Bowl quarterback. I mean, this is the NFL. You got to have a really good football team to even talk about having a chance to get there. And when you have a really good football team, you better have a really good quarterback. And when you do that, you still better have luck with injuries. You still got to play good defense. You got to do everything. So, there's also been a lot of great quarterbacks who haven't won Super Bowls. And the ones who do, you don't win them on their own. They got to be on a good team, and they got to have defenses. And there's so many things that go into it. So I always kind of hate that conversation.
I get it.
Well,
he's been to hold on.
No, that's your
He's been to a Super Bowl with a lesser quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. So he's proven normally you need a stud quarterback to get there. I've gotten there, didn't get it done with, average to above average quarterback at Jimmy Garoppolo, I would say.
But he's talking about the discussion on Brock Purdy, whether he can win a Super Bowl or not, whether he's a Super Bowl quarterback or not, whether he's an elite quarterback or not. He thinks those conversations are not very smart.
Well, they'll work themselves out. If the Niners keep winning and Steiny, there's nothing fluke about this team and what I think he's doing.
Well, not until he throws another interception.
We'll give you one.
Let's go to Kyle. Kyle's in Salinas. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's your morning?
Hey.
Hey, so you know what? I just got done. I'm watching listening to some of them, the national morning shows right now at the same time as watching you guys. And, it's funny, like they talk about Hurts as if he's like the next coming of Mahomes. And they talk about Purdy, he can't survive without his weapons. Trent Williams, he leaves one game, Purdy loses. Well, that's just 20% of one offensive lineman. That's honestly, it's the bottom half of offensive lines in the league. Jalen Hurts has the best offensive line in the entire league, a better receiving tandem. Where's the talk of Jalen Hurts and his weapons, that he's not a system quarterback, that he's elite? Purdy's doing more with less. We have the better tight end. We have good receivers, not as good as Philadelphia. He's having a better year in every statistical stat than Hurts, but yet somehow national media wants to slander Purdy. I don't know. I question their motive.
The only answer I could give you there, and I was just looking at this today, Purdy's played 20 games in the NFL, and Hurts has played 50 plus. That's the only thing Hurts has, is an extra year and a half pretty much on
and a Super Bowl appearance.
And a Super Bowl appearance. But
he didn't win it.
Well, Purdy got hurt, so,
well,
18
touchdowns for Jalen Hurts and 10 interceptions, Steiny.
Mm-hmm.
So, who would you rather, again, I'm not, you think I am on the highlights. I'm not a stat guy, but the number one trait for me in a quarterback is ball protection, ball security, and Purdy's done that better than Jalen Hurts. But Jalen Hurts, Steiny, we talk about his legs, and maybe that's why from a national perspective, quote unquote, is more dynamic than Brock Purdy. But I still think Brock is always will be facing the ghost of where he was drafted at. Like he wasn't Baker Mayfield or one of these Mac Jones. So I think he does get a little shade for that in regard to how people look at him.
888-957-9570 is the number. Steiny along with Guru and the San Francisco 49ers and the Eagles. The Week 13 games finally here.
Man.
10-1 versus 8-3. And we'll be talking about it all week. And I guess my question for 49er fans is, I think Eagles fans would tell you this game's more important for the Niners. But how important is it for the Niners? And I know we're saying, well, this is going to be their way to stay in the battle for home field advantage. They'll only be a game behind Philly, but they'll have the tiebreaker. But don't the Niners need this game for their own confidence?